This is ElevatePod, where we elevate your mindset, inspire your spirit, and ignite your leadership journey. This podcast is brought to you by Elevate Leadership Services. My name is Pearl.
And I'm Chibuchungu.
We are the co-founders of Elevate Leadership Services and hosts of ElevatePod. The ElevatePod is dedicated to inspiring and empowering listeners, focusing on minorities and immigrants by offering valuable tools, resources, and pathways to foster personal and professional development.
Oh, thank you for that, Pearl. And today we are truly honored to have our friend and our sister, a mother, and the founder of Inspired ELAquence to be with us and to share her journey and her thoughts on a topic that really has allowed her to just reach the bounds that she has attained. And the topic for today is self-awareness, a competency that we all need. A subject that allows us to grow and to become our best versions of ourselves. Self-awareness taps into our conscious knowledge and also our characters, our feelings, our motives, our desires, our drives. It does involve that we recognize how our own thoughts, our own behaviors, our emotions align or misalign, as I can also say, with our own values and how it affects other people, because it's about relationships and how other people perceive us or you as an individual. So honing the competence, this competency is very important, because what does it do? It allows you to have clarity and direction. This is what drives you, what makes you behave the way you behave. It allows us to improve our directions, our decision making, and actually self-awareness is a foundation of emotional intelligence. And it allows us to be accountable so that we can admit our mistakes. And it allows us to be adaptable so that we can continue to grow and continue to become who we are. So Ela immigrated to the US in 1997, and she began her journey of service, motherhood, and personal transformation, and eventually becoming a US citizen and a devoted housemaker for 16 years. Despite early academic struggles rooted in the undiagnosed dyslexia, Ela persisted with resilience and later embracing her neurodivergence as a strength rather than a flaw. In her recent years, she has transformed her personal challenges into a powerful platform of inspiring others through her public speaking, art, and leadership. Currently, she's serving as a Toastmasters Area 45 Director in District 39. She is a muralist and founder of ELAquence, and she's the Art of ELA, and has cultivated spaces of empowerment, creativity, and healing. Her work, from workshops to motivational videos, which she does every day, centers on helping others discover purposes and inner power. Now pursuing her master's at the University of Pacific, a degree in communication at the age of 60. You can't tell she's even 60. She looks so young. She continues to defy limitations and lead with intention. Above all, Ela finds her greatest joy in family, especially as a mother and Gigi. Gigi means it's a grandmother, right? And her growing grandchildren. She dedicates her life to legacy, love, and igniting transformation in others. Ela, do you have anything to add?
No, you said everything so much. So thank you, Chibe, for that introduction. I really appreciate it.
All right, wonderful. You have done it, and my friend, I see it all. And I'm blessed to have you in my life.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me here today. It's such an honor and privilege.
Thank you so much, Ella, for joining us today. It's an honor to have you on this episode today to discuss one of my favorite topics, self-awareness. Like Chibwe has already touched on what self-awareness is, before we dive in, I would just add to it to say self-awareness is the conscious understanding of your own character, emotions, motives, and desires. It means recognizing how your thoughts and actions align with your values, how they impact others, and how you are perceived in return. Many of us, immigrants, grow up juggling multiple identities, home culture versus dominant culture, personal goals versus family expectations. Without self awareness, it's easy to internalize other people's labels, biases, or even limitations. So, knowing who you are helps you set boundaries, build confidence, and advocate for yourself in spaces that may try to silence or minimize you. I like this quote: if you don't define yourself, the world will do it for you, and it won't always be kind.
Yes, definitely.
With that being said, Ella, what is self-awareness to you, and when did you become aware of who you are?
Thank you so much. That's a powerful question. That's loaded for me. That's where do I start? Self-awareness for me is like different stages because I was aware of myself when I was younger and then aware again and then lately I even was even aware of my issue about self-abandonment, that was my fear. So I was more aware that when I was younger that I I I noticed or observed an abandonment because I was the youngest and my siblings were the cutest boy and girl ever. And I remember being left by my family because they had to go somewhere, maybe because I'm rambunctious or I'm loud or I cry. I have no idea, but I do remember that, and that has really painted or tainted so much of my personality. Right, I already am aware when I was young that I was an an energizer bunny. I was full of energy even then and even now. So I'm so aware of that I am gregarious, happy. I'm always happy. I'm always energy and I'm loud. But I was aware that people are not appreciative of that necessarily. They want us to be in a certain norm, like, you want quiet children, obedient children. And I was here, like, my mom would tell me to be quiet. And I remember the time she would pinch me, and I would say, why did you pinch me in front of other people? That's how much I'm aware of who I am. But then later on, as you grow up, you realize that your voice is pushed aside as a child. So maybe not your experience, but in my experience, it was almost like it was pushed back, and then you're a girl, so it was pushed back again, and then when you get married, you're like, okay, this is my position. You get pushed back again. So I found myself being pushed in the corner, and I allow myself to be pushed back in the corner, and So through the years, I excelled in stuff in things that I do. But my most recent awareness really is the abandonment that has happened in my life. The one who truly abandoned me was me. So I like what you're saying, Pearl, that the choices, the standing for your voice, I didn't do that because I didn't realize that I was the one doing it to myself. And even if I excelled in some things, that was something that pushed me back and always thought that, oh, people will leave me, people will abandon me because I go back to my abandonment way back when I was a child. And I'm so grateful that recently, that's why Chiboy probably asked me about this self-awareness, because I am super, super aware now of that abandonment. Whenever I choose something else or someone else, I see that child. I literally, in my vision, see a child. And when I see myself running after something else or someone else, I would take that child in my arms now and I would say, I choose you. I choose you and I love you.
I just want to follow up on what you said. I think you mentioned something about a girl, and I don't know. I can't remember whether I listened well or not. Whether what did being a girl, how did that impact your awareness? And I think I want you to expound a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
so that the audience understands, because our audience are going to be some who would want to hear exactly what you meant by that.
Yes. Yes. And like I said, I'm also aware that not everybody has
Mhm,
gone through this
mhm,
situation. But when I was a tomboy. I
mhm,
would compete with the guys, I would run with guys, I played, I'm athletic, I'm everything.
mhm,
And my best friends were also the same because we don't know any better, right? But
mhm,
we're girls. So
mhm,
one time I was 14 and the guy that I was competing with was 18, and we were pit against each other to do a drinking contest of a liter of Sprite. Okay.
Whoa.
Both of us, I was this tiny little girl. This guy was a hunk, right? So
Mm,
I would have known. I won. I won. And I should have been celebrated, right? But
yeah.
okay, I'm sorry if this is too much for the audience, but that boy, so everybody was cheering for me, but that boy came to me and punched me in the stomach because he couldn't take it. He couldn't take that a girl actually,
Beaten.
yeah, won and beat him. And so that event in my life, that instance, I realized that if a girl wins, she gets beaten up. So not that I never became a leader for men, because I've done committees at church, I was the leader, but I was always careful. I would always be considerate with men, like even when I was married, when, for example, I'm an artist and my husband an artist. If people tell me like, Ella, can I see your paintings? I would say first, and I found myself doing this, that would you like to see my husband's painting first? To
Wow.
give chance to the man before myself. Because of
Wow.
that, I remember in my past, like, if you win as a girl, someone will beat you up.
Wow.
So when someone also abandons you, because abandonment is not necessarily physical, it's emotional, mental. When you're abandoned in a relationship, now I'm just taking it because I'm like, maybe I shouldn't win because I'm a girl. Maybe that's why I'm being abandoned because I'm a girl. I can't push myself forward. I can't be better. I can't be the best because a man might be offended by it.
Wow.
So for some time, that's how I would think until the chaos in my life happened 5 years ago. And finally, it was just God just told me, move forward. And that's when I started to move forward. This one, I became more aware of myself. I ask people how they see me. I would actually send, like almost every year, send to my friends and families, like, what do you think? What are the things that you like about me, and what are the things I should improve? I would send that a lot with my family so I can be more aware of how they see me and how I was perceived. Because most of the time, how people perceive me is actually not me necessarily, or it can be me, but it's a projection of themselves to me. I have also accepted that people, the way we see each other, I see my things about me in Chibwe, right? Chibwe, if I get mad, if I'm happy or not, it's a projection of me because I can see myself in that person. And then they project themselves to me. So I'm more aware of this, that now it's no longer me. It's a projection of people. And I realize that it's not me that has a problem. It's their, it's their projection, it's their identity, how they see themselves, and how they see themselves comparing to me. That's why I got beaten up, because that boy couldn't accept that, he didn't beat me up. He punched me. So that's black and blue beat up. So, but he was mad because of his own insecurity, not because of me. But I took on that guilt for a while, that, oh, I should be careful when it's a man. I should always give them the space, that place. And I just push myself to the side, like that.
Wow. I think I can follow up on that, because I'm happy that you have elaborated on the girl aspect. But I just wanted also to follow up on abandonment of me. That's what you said. So if I look at your abandonment of yourself, do you think abandonment of yourself is maybe self-doubt as well? Or is it that you are questioning your strength, or you're not grounded in the strength? Or what actually leads to that abandonment of self?
So when I was young, so everything goes back to my young age. So some people might be able to relate with me. So when I was young, I was abandoned one time by my parents, with my siblings. And then growing up, I experienced a lot of painful stuff. Like even my grandparents, my grandfathers would say that I just sprouted from the ground. So many things. It's very dysfunctional, right? So in my thought, I'm like, okay, nobody wants to choose me. So I would go after that. If I need to be loved, I should go after and try to do things that will make them love me. So it was always a labor. It was always like chasing on, like, please love me. So I have this speech, you might have heard this, about the bully. I was bullied by my own, a family. There's a member in my family that bullied me. So this bullied person became a bully later on, because I was so angry. I was angry, so I was projecting it to other people. But actually, the bully was just saying, please love me. Love me, please. So now I have a heart for bullies, because I know they're also hurt. And they're just asking someone to love them. So that became my mission when my kids were growing up in school, and people would bully them. You know what I do with the bullies? I go to them, I say hi to them, I speak their name, and when they're young, I would hug them. And then when they're older, I would just smile at them every day. Strategically, I would I would cross paths with them. Hi, for example, Jordan. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Jordan, every day. And then a day would come that that boy would say, I like her family, my daughter's family, who don't even know me, because I have a heart that these kids are hurting. They're hurting. They're abandoning themselves as well, because they're trying to get love from things, from people, or they're just wanting to to feel worthy of something. That's why they're so lost. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but because of that, I realized that my boyfriends who left me, my relationship that left me, I was chasing after them. I was leaving myself in the corner and say, okay, forget about you. I'm going to chase, because I want love from here. I don't want yours, because you're not, it's almost like you're not worthy of loving. I didn't realize that that's what I was doing until recently, just last year, actually. So I started talking about self-abandonment this last year. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, suddenly disappeared for 3 days. And I was already worried. Why is he not contacting me? Then I realized that here I am again. I saw my little girl, my little self, there in that corner again, and I was about to chase again. And then I realized that, oh my gosh, I was abandoning myself all along. All my relationships, I abandoned myself.
So you had to stop.
Yes. I had to be aware that every time, I would probably say this with our audience, the women audience, if they're in a relationship and they're chasing, that's exactly what they're doing. You're abandoning yourself. You're saying that that person is better because they will make me love myself, when actually you should stop doing that. Go to yourself, hug yourself, and love yourself, and say, I choose you. I will love you.
Mhm.
That makes a whole lot of difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
And you can
Great
see I'm very
information.
passionate about this.
Yes, yeah. I think it just, what I see or what I hear from you is you still have that little girl in you, but every now and then you have to look at yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and just say, not again. I have to move on. And I have to be me. I have to know who I am, and I have to source who I am. So, as an immigrant, how has this self-awareness that you have discovered, how has it helped you as an immigrant as well as a minority? How is it helping you? And how is it actually fostering your growth?
Yes, thank you for that question, Chibwe. So in the same way, like I used to think that as an immigrant, like, okay, we're less because we're not, we're not from here. Even if we're citizens, people will, so I'm more aware that people are gonna see you in a different light. So, but if you take that and say, and make it your own and say like, oh, that's true. I am, I am lesser than them. And now you're abandoning yourself again, because that is not true. So the way I handle my abandonment is my self-awareness to self-love. It's like when you say, Chigwe, that I look at my mirror every day, I actually go beyond that. I actually, in my mind, I would hug my little girl every day. I remind her, don't worry, I'm going to choose you today. I'm going to choose you. I'm going to stand up for you. I'm going to fight for you. Not fight a violent fight, but just fight to make a stand, make my voice heard. I will speak for you. So it's a different dynamic. It's like kind of weird, but I have to visualize her because I have seen her in that corner for the longest time and always say, okay, just stay there. We have to deal with this. We have to consider other people, be considerate to men, or to others, to those who are not immigrants, putting them first because this is their country. No, that's not true. Because you're here, you are not trying to be lazy. You're studying. You studied. You're serving them. You're adding to the community. So who are you not to be who you're supposed to be, and to really have that greatness in you? Give it to them and share it with the world. Who are you not to be that? So I have to remember that for myself.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yes, we have to be our true self every day. Thank you for that. I hope our listeners get that point.
And I would like to piggyback on what you've just said with this question, Ella. So, as an immigrant, how has the awareness of self influenced your choices, your lifestyle, as well as your career? Now, founder of Inspired ELAquence, how has that awareness of self impacted your decisions up until now?
Thank you for that question, Emily. Whew, it's like a marathon for me right now. It's so emotional.
I love that.
Here.
I'm so emotional right now. Okay, the immigrant part and my relationships part, it's almost like it's overlapping, right? Because it's my husband who brought me here, where I'm an immigrant, and then I am in a relationship with a man also, right? So it became more, how do I say this? How do I explain this? My awareness. Okay, so my self-awareness. So I saw myself first. As an immigrant, I would hear people say, you're an immigrant. Why do you get to buy a house? Why do you get to do those things? Right? people would say that to me, those who are not immigrants. And I said, what is wrong? We work hard. We worked hard for this.
Yes.
I realize that so many people who live here, who are from here, don't even leverage on it. And when we immigrants leverage on it, there's an animosity about it, that we're not supposed to be, excelling or succeeding. So there's that thought in my head again, like, oh, we need to consider them. We need to be considerate about them because they might get mad or whatever. But the truth is, it is not even the immigrants' fault, because we want to succeed, and we want to leverage on what's given. There's so much given to them that's for free, and nobody wants to take it. We want to take it, of course, because we want to succeed here, and we want to matter. We want to make a difference, right? I guess that's the mentality of us immigrants, right? We want a better life. We want to be able to make a better contribution to the country. So I'm aware of that people who are not immigrants and actually judge me. And like I said, because I'm aware of this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm making choices, right? Making good choices. Like, I'm still letting them control. I'm allowing my mind to control me. And then being in my relationship, and how did that, I don't know if I'm making sense. How did that help me? There was an event, Pearl, 5 years ago, that actually made me aware, totally aware of what's going on with my life. If I don't make a change, I am going to go off the cliff. If someone goes off the cliff, I run. I'm so loyal. I told myself I'm a loyal person, but the truth is that, again, I am not a loyal person. I abandon myself.
Mm.
I'm saying I'm a loyal person to my relationships. I'm saying that I love too much. I will not cuss, but that is not true. I would like to say that is but it's not true. You abandon yourself, and you're being so loyal to something that is not serving you and that is not adding value to yourself. And then I saw that, I realized that, almost God pulling me out of it, because I thought I was just loyal, I'm faithful, and I would run and I would just jump. And then I saw God move his hand, move me, held me from my core and said, stop. No, because you are going to hurt yourself, and you're going to hurt your children. Because when a mother or a father is not healthy, it affects the children. The legacy we leave to our children is how we live our lives.
Right.
They're watching us. And even if life is not perfect, if we strive to be healthy and to succeed and to live in integrity, that will make a great impact in our children's life. I'm about to cry because it's so deep for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a pause.
No, but thank you for giving me this space to share. I'm really very passionate about this because of what I went through. And I'm grateful to God for it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. You said something that's very key, very important. You said the legacy that we're leaving for our children is how we live our lives. I think that's very powerful.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think it's what we say, how we say it, but the biggest thing is how we live our lives. So self-awareness is definitely very important, because if we're not aware of ourselves, then we cannot be leading other people without the awareness of self. And this includes our children. So that was very interesting you said that, because that's just the basis of self-awareness. What we
Yeah.
do with this reflects on other people, projects on other people, like you said. So very deep. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you, Ella, for just opening up, because I know some of these, the ones sort of are fresh. Yeah, especially when
So
we talk about this. So
just piggybacking on what you're saying, Pearl, is when I became aware of it's almost like a disrespect for myself and of my disregard of myself, that I'm willing to give my life to something that's not adding to me anymore, and then endangering probably my children if I did that. When I realized that, that's when I made a decision. And I didn't know where to go, but God just said, move forward. Just keep one step at a time. And that's how I found Toastmasters. That's how I started to do my master. Just things happened. Just it's almost like falling on my lap because I was searching for it. How do I move from where I am? Because I can't change my circumstances, so I asked God to change me. And that's when it all began.
Wonderful. Actually, you just moved in one of the questions that I was going to ask about your personal experiences, and also for you to just give a tiny story or the self-discovery story that led you to choose communication as a major.
Yes, thank you, Chibai, for that question. Why did I choose communication?
Yes.
First of all, people would ask me, why did I join Toastmasters? And I really thought about this. And I think it goes back to self-awareness, my experience of being pushed back to the side. I'm this happy, happy, joyful, always laughing. I'm like that kind of girl that turned out to be not anymore. And I'm like, what happened to me? Like, what happened? Why am I dying? Why I feel like I was dying already when when that whole chaos happened. When I removed myself from that chaos, that's when I realized that why did I join Toastmasters? Why am I doing communications? Because I didn't know I didn't know I have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm loud and all that, when I'm happy and all that, it doesn't mean that I had a voice. And I couldn't tell my stories before because it was so embarrassing. It was so shameful to be beaten up by a boy, to be beaten up by your own family, to be bullied, to bully some people. So that whole life span, it was like I couldn't say anything, but it was killing me until I found those masters where they said, you can share anything. Then I found my voice to tell the stories,
Yes.
and it healed me.
Yeah.
So why do I want to take communications? First of all, one is because I'm already doing Toastmasters. I think that's where God is leading me. Second, people have taught me already that I am a communicator. I end up counseling people, although I don't want to be a counselor, but I end up being a counselor, helping people. My mission in life right now is to be this flame that will ignite the fire in people's souls so that they can transform. That is my heart. And because I wanted to learn really how to communicate, because communication is in any field, even in your field. Anyway, you have to learn how to communicate. And because I have gone into the social media thing, I don't know how I started all this, but I wanted to learn how to communicate even through social media. How can we leverage on this? I'm older, but there is an audience in the third act, 60 above.
Yeah.
That is the audience that I want to reach out to. That I know some of them are where I was at, feel so abandoned, feel like there's nothing in life. Because there was a point in my life I thought, oh, this is it. This is how I'm going to die. This is how I'm going to live. And I said, oh my gosh, no, no. And that's where I want to help the people in their third act, is to say, you still have years left. Live it to the full.
Yes.
Not an ending when you retire. Live it to the max, to the where God created you to be. That's what I want to do with my communication skills.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, I think we need that. I think everybody needs to hear, especially immigrants, because when we come, there's so many things against us. We don't know what we're supposed to know. And this information that you're providing on just being who you are, knowing yourself, becoming aware of yourself, And once you know who you are, you can reach out to different resources, to networks that can support you,
Yes,
actually
yes.
be able to reach your potential.
I think what it does to me also is to become bold.
Mhm.
When I realize who I am and that it is in me that will change my life, of course, God in me, I became bolder, looking for opportunities. You know how they said opportunities come every day, but you
Yes.
have to be aware of it.
Yes.
But I'm more aware because I'm asking, like, hey, can I do a workshop with you? You know, just asking. And if you say no, then it's no. But it's opening so many doors for me. And like, all you need to do is ask.
Yes.
I'm bolder because I know my mission in life and I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I know what kind of leader I am. The more I knew that this is who I am, in spite of my dyslexia, I'm like, oh my God, I'm strategic because I'm dyslexic. I'm strategic. So I leverage on that. You know, I'm not perfect, Chipper knows that, but I know what my strengths are and I know what I can leverage on and what my limitations are. That's why I study the way I study because it takes me a week to read something while people can read it in one day. So I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of.
Yeah. And talking about network, that's why I can see, you remember you started the Change the World series where you have invited many of us to come and talk to your audience and just talk about how we can help you change this world, the passion that you have, the vision that you have that you want to reach. And I think this is going to be going on a yearly basis, right?
So yes.
This has been a magnificent sort of a step forward in great growth. I've seen you from the time that we met almost 2-3 years ago to where we are. I think we've grown. I've grown, you've grown, and the growth that I've seen in you is just phenomenal. And I think and you're using it very well for the platforms that you are reaching out to. Yeah.
Thank you, Chip.
Well, we'll be, are we
Yeah.
about a few minutes before we start ending our, I think we have a few questions that maybe you have to ask.
Just one. I think I just have one more question. Just to backtrack a little bit, Ella, you did share about moments where you've gone to friends and family and asked them to tell you, you know, what they think of you. And then I think I'm putting two questions in one here as well. You've also talked about situations where your character or your personality, you know, bubbly, happy, jovial. I can imagine that there are times you would be in such a situation, but deep down, that's not really what you're feeling. So, my last question is, how has the discovery of self, how has it impacted your relationships, family, friends? How has it impacted it? And has it changed their perception of you? And is it helping you navigate those relationships or those interactions better?
Thank you, Pearl. Thank you for that question. That's a very exciting question because, like I said, I did it for the first 3 years, I think, even in Toastmasters, I've sent out these questions like, what do you think I do best? What do you think? I love it. People tell me like, why do you do that? That's scary. I said, yes, I want to scare myself because it's the best way to know maybe I'm not like that, but that's how they see me, right? And so what it has done for me in terms of family, first of all, family wise, I'm closer to my siblings and my parents. And then my children wise, it taught me how to communicate with my children. Actually, not talk, but listen. I learned to listen more to my children. It healed our relationship because of that change in me. Toastmasters taught me that because Toastmasters is a lot of listening, right? You are a great speaker if you can listen more than talk. So even that helped me with my children. My children helped me. It was my children who taught me what it is to be a real mother, is to listen, not to respond, but to understand. That's my daughter. And my son said, when I would tell him, I want you to be better, I just want you to do good. He said, do you even hear yourself, Mom? And then I said, what did I say? What does he hear? He hears, you are not good enough. So I never said that again. And because of that, learning from them, learning from being more aware. Oh, I do that. I, the more aware you are, the more you will change some things, and the more you will know what to do to be better than that, or how to engage, or how to talk to your children. It blows me away. My relationship with them is great, really great. And then for my friends, I am more aware of who are the friends who are really there for me to build me up. I will not burn bridges, but I will concentrate more on the people who builds me up. But I will stay with those who don't, but maybe we can help each other. But I will also choose who I journey with. And if you know, Chibwe, I have this very few people who I close that we journey together, but I also keep my other friends outside that I know maybe are competing with me, maybe are not happy with me. Believe me, Pearl, some people hate my energy. They do. They really do. Most people my age hate it, but people younger, they love it. This is how I ended up emceeing seminars for younger people, because I realized that, you know what, I don't need to change. I just need to find the people who will leverage on what my strength. I don't have to change that, but I also have to be careful. Like, if these people don't like it, it's okay. But God made you this way for a reason. And it shouldn't change. You should leverage on it. You should strengthen it, but also be considerate. Do not expect other people to like it, because they're not supposed to like it. Not everybody's supposed to like you.
Wonderful. We are coming to an end. I think this topic is of relevance, and we can go hours and hours talking about it. But I think we'll have part 2 of self-awareness. And I think this will be very important, you coming back another time to really talk about self-awareness as you do your live cast or podcast. I don't know whether it's live cast, right? So I think that will be very good, and what it has opened up for you in terms of self-awareness. But thank you so much, Ela, for joining us really today.
Oh, it's my honor.
We are really honored to have you. And I think for me, I've come to know you, and I know where you've been, where you're going since we met, and what you're saying today is truly relevant, not only to our audience that is listening, but to even some of us who walk with you in the journey of growth that you have. So today, as you see, we explored the power of self-awareness and how knowing ourselves can deeply help us not only to grow, but to connect and lead with purpose. Looking inwardly isn't comfortable many of the times, but it's always worth doing it. Self-awareness will always give us the clarity to make our aligned choices so that we are not abandoning ourselves, as you said, Ela, but that we are walking with ourselves and putting ourselves in the forefront. It also allows us, when we're self-aware, to develop and build that humility that we need in order to continue growing. And it encourages us to show up and be authentic in what we do. So as we move forward, let's take courage to look inwards. As we move forward, let us be self-aware and allow self-awareness to guide our decisions, to deepen our relationships, and also to allow us to elevate our purposes. Because when you know yourself, you begin to master the life you're meant to have. So thank you so much to our listeners for listening to us. And please stay curious, stay grounded, stay honest, and keep rising into the fullest version that the Lord has created you to be. Pearl?
Chiwe, what a wonderful summary of today's session. And thank you, Ella, for sharing and for blessing us with all that wonderful insight on the topic of self-awareness. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Growth doesn't start with fixing others, we have learned today. It starts with understanding yourself. This is the first step toward any real change. So keep tuning in, not just to this podcast, but to yourself. That's where the transformation begins. True self awareness is not just seeing yourself clearly, but seeing yourself with compassion as well. It's about owning those choices, learning from the patterns of our lives, and also standing honestly in our own story. So leave no part of yourself unexplored. Your wholeness is indeed your strength. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. I like that.
I like
So
that.
thank you again for joining us today on this journey to elevate and inspire. Until next time, lead with purpose and grow with passion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.